One of the things that we've been focusing on is an anti-stigmatization campaign called Don't Count Us Out, right? If people stop using drugs and alcohol, their lives turn around.
Reagan Dunn was first elected to the King County Council in 2005. He represents District 9 in southeast King County, which includes 9 cities and a large unincorporated area. He has a law degree from the University of Washington and has served as an assistant U.S. attorney. He is the son of former U.S. Congresswoman Jennifer Dunn. He was named after former U.S. President Ronald Reagan and grew up in Bellevue, Washington. Reagan has a passion for justice, but one of the closest things to his heart is the issue of addiction and recovery. Hi again, everyone. Tony Ventrella. Welcome back to Community Conversations. Today, one of my favorite people. Yes, one of my favorites. Reagan Dunn is with us, King County Council. You know, this is where you operate. We're in your office. I feel so important here. Can I sit up there just for a second?
Anytime you want. It's the People's Chambers. This is where we all meet to have our community conversations.
So much happens here. You know what I like about King County Council? You guys actually talk to each other.
Yeah.
You work together.
Yeah.
And this, by the way, is not some slam on any other level of government, but you guys talk to each other, you work together, and you get things done. Let's talk about your top priority as you go through this year, 2023, and the next 3 that follow that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, we do get stuff done. We're a nonpartisan body, a full-time legislative body that has oversight over the 12th largest county in the nation, 2.4 million, Seattle plus 38 other cities. And so we're working all the time where the rubber meets the road to try and, improve the quality of life of the people that live in King County. And so for me, it's a real passion of mine to represent District 9, which is sort of southeast King County. It's really the most rural suburban district in King County. I've got a little bit of Bellevue, Renton, Newcastle, as you know, Kent, Covington, Black Diamond, Maple Valley, Enumclaw, clear up to Snoqualmie Pass, and where we border even Yakima County out there, including parts of Greenwater. And so it's got its own interests. But for me, maybe it's not as exciting as some, but we really focusing on making the trains run on time, making sure that we have a robust criminal justice system. We have enough police on the streets and prosecutors, that we're doing what we need for our social service organizations, providing that safety net, which is really a critical part of what we're doing. Food banks, shelters, helping people with substance use disorders, an issue close to my heart.
Yes, it is.
And working on things like roads and transit and delivering the best possible product for the tax dollars that people are paying. At the end of the day, the taxpayers, our constituents, our residents, are our customers.
Sure.
And so I've always employed an attitude of customer service-oriented leadership in my position in elected office.
That's the key. And I know that where your passions are, and one program, the Don't Count Us Out program, is the one I know you love to talk about. Tell me about, fill me in on where you are with that. How much progress are you making?
Right. So we've seen dramatic double-digit increases in drug and alcohol addiction, particularly since the pandemic. Fentanyl overdose is the leading cause of death now for men 18 to 45. It's so bad now that actually we're running out of space in our morgue. There's been a 4-fold increase in deaths just since 2018. And people may not know this, but I'm in recovery. I don't drink anymore. I used to drink way too much. And I had a problem. And with the help of some really good people, I quit drinking now. It's been many years now, years and years of sobriety. And I spend a lot of time focusing on policies that I think help people recover from drug and alcohol abuse. And I'm not the preachy guy that says, you should drink.
No.
What I do is I put programs together that I think will help people. And one of the things that we've been focusing on is an anti-stigmatization campaign called Don't Count Us Out, right? If people stop using drugs and alcohol, their lives turn around. I mean, it's measurable. Even within a period of weeks, but certainly months and years. And what we see, 90% of people with a drug or alcohol problem don't seek help because they're afraid of the stigma associated with being an addict.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
It does. And let me give you an example, Tony. For years, I'd never go to AA meetings because I was an elected official afraid to be recognized.
right.
You know how hard it is to recover if you can't have some supportive people.
Oh, no.
And I finally started to go, and that made a great big difference. And there was a few people that helped me out, and now I help other people out, not just in terms of sponsoring people who are new to recovery, but in terms of putting policies together. So this initiative, we're promoting it on billboards, advertising. We want to remind landlords, renters, prospective employers, family members, that may have just dismissed a family member because of an addiction.
Sure.
Hey, if somebody is able to quit, if they are able to turn their life around, not only are they going to be a functioning member of society, very frequently they shoot out of the gun with a whole new set of enthusiasm because they figured out something that's special. And
Well,
so
the thing
we're
is,
working on that.
as you know, anyone in that situation still has the tools.
Sure.
Probably still has the desire, at least some of the desire.
Yeah.
But that fear is what holds them back, you're right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so if we can sort of, stigma for drug and alcohol addiction is always going to be there to some degree. Yeah, I think there's human nature, but we can do a lot in terms of talking about it. And so, look, I'm an elected official. I talk about it. I'm open. I have my annual conference on substance use disorders. I ran for Congress last year talking about my recovery.
Sure.
I think the more people do that, people start to get easier with, okay, great, all right, you had a problem, but you fixed it. All right, you had a problem, you're doing great stuff now. That's okay. And so I've been focusing on that. And it's a kind of that set of issues, helping folks that are struggling and seeing what happens to them and their families when they do finally get sober. That is why I get up in the mornings. One of the reasons I get up in the morning to help people. And it's something that's special, and I think it's a real successful, innovative program.
This is kind of an open-ended question,
Yeah.
but are you seeing progress?
Oh, we are. Yeah. We are. We are in certain ways. I think there is an increased tolerance and understanding of the drug and alcohol problem in our community. I think fentanyl, sadly, is bringing the attention. It only takes one pill to take a life. We have candy-colored fentanyl being pushed by cartels up into the Pacific Northwest. Yeah. So we're seeing progress in that regard, but what we're behind on is critical infrastructure. We don't have enough beds. We don't have enough inpatient treatment facilities. We don't have enough outpatient treatment facilities. We haven't done a good job of triaging and creating opportunities for people to come in. People don't know how to afford it.
Right.
Minority communities are almost blocked. The gate is closed because there isn't a lot of outreach to that community. And so we need to really make that, let me say, race and equity should never be a barrier to recovery, right? The cost or insurance should never be a barrier to recovery. Stigma should never be a barrier to recovery. So if we can start to bring those things down, I think we'll get people into treatment, they're healthy, and they're not only are they not addicted any longer, they're a productive member of society for their community, their job, and their family.
Yeah, that's the key. Real quick question for you, Reagan. This is about is it difficult to get people interested who have never been touched by this issue before, and all they're thinking about is, well, how much is this going to cost? Yeah. I don't mean, hopefully nobody's that cynical, but you never know.
Yeah, well, I think it's getting easier and easier. We just did a study as part of this Don't Count Us Out. Half of the people who we surveyed have somebody close to them that's an addict. And so I think they connect more and more to it. But I think the arguments that are important to make is, look, it is not that expensive to get somebody into treatment. It's not that expensive to get them crisis care compared to the downstream effects of long-term addiction.
Exactly.
And that goes towards the homelessness conversation, which we can talk about. We've seen dramatic increases in homelessness. A lot of that is mental health challenges. A lot of that is substance use disorder. Some of it is housing as well. But all of it, I would argue, the investments up front end up saving many-fold more in terms of dollars downstream if we can do it up front.
Sure. And you can't, with an issue like homelessness, you can't just solve part of that issue. You can't suddenly have all the funding you need, right? But then no way to get the folks to want to come in and get involved. And that is a multitask situation. In your next 4 years,
that's what
are we going to solve that? No, that is.
It's a great question. I don't think we'll ever completely solve homelessness, but I think if we I'm not convinced that necessarily throwing more money at the problem is the answer. We need to be smarter about how we're spending those dollars and not double down on failed policies. We need to use the best practices that are proven across the country and around the world that work, and then make the investments behind them. But actually, you're going to see in the next several months big, robust discussions on this, because the Homeless Governance Authority has just proposed an $11 billion plan, which is up for debate.
Yes, it is. Oh yeah, let me wrap this up on the. I got a couple questions that I was thinking about this. I was thinking about, first of all, should the Seahawks re-sign Geno Smith? That was one.
Good question.
Yes or no?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
The answer is yes. Let's all make some sacrifices on salary cap issues. We got to bring DK back. We got some great young players. We got the fifth pick and the 20th pick in the draft. Thanks, Denver.
10 picks overall.
That was one of the best moves. John Snyder, those guys did a nice job.
They
Pete
did,
Carroll.
man.
I'm excited about that.
Can Julio Rodriguez have another great season like he did last year?
Yeah.
These are easy, aren't they?
I like these. These are great questions. I'm happy with these. We can do this all day.
What about the Kraken?
Kraken's good. Been going, having some fun. Went to one of the exhibition games over in Spokane. Of course, I've been to this one as well. Now, both my nieces are on the Idaho State hockey team.
Oh my goodness!
And one of them's looking at D1 hockey.
Cool.
So, and they're good, like real good. So.
And here's one that people don't talk about enough, in my opinion. Yeah. How do we replace Sue Bird? Nobody's talking about that.
I don't know if we have an answer.
There is no replacing Sue Bird. I don't think, but
no
maybe
replacing. But you know what? We're lucky right now. We've got a pretty good sports system here. I think we've done a pretty good job making investments in the arenas.
We have.
Obviously, the University of Washington football team. I was down at the Alamo Bowl. They're looking really good. I'm super excited for next year.
Possible national champions next year. So.
Yeah, a real good shot.
Well, this is good. And the reason I end the interview with this kind of stuff is, it goes unsaid often how important something like rallying around a sports team can be to a community. Can get other things fixed. And maybe that's kind of a Pollyannish point of view, but my middle name isn't Polly for anything, for nothing.
I think it's a beating heart of our community. And when we have these sporting events, we all get together. And one of the great things about the greater Seattle area is we really have a special community. We have wonderful organizations, sports teams, arts teams, nonprofits, and when challenges face our community, like the pandemic, yet we come together in a way that maybe other cities. You didn't see us fighting about whether we should social distance or whether we should vaccinate here. Other county councils beat each other up from one side to the other. We got together. We said, "Hey, this is serious. We're going to do something." So, we can criticize the homeless problem, we can criticize the drug problem, we can criticize the crime problem, but at the end of the day, we still live in one of the best communities in the country, and our job is to make it even better.
You got it. Reagan Dunn, it's always a pleasure. Keep working together with your team and keep finding the success that you've always found since you've been with King County Council. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Tony.
All right, that's Community Conversations, and we'll make sure that Reagan's sports picks come true. And if they don't, we'll talk to him again in a couple months, and we'll take him to task on that. Thanks for being with us. I'm Tony Ventrella. See you next time.